The Republican-controlled Florida legislature has passed a bill on Wednesday of last week that would create a special elections police force. So, hey, if you're worried about jackbooted thugs, well, guess what? Florida now has jackbooted thugs when it comes to voting. Now, this bill would establish an Office of Election Crimes and Security within the Department of State, which happens to be overseen by Ron DeSantis. The 25-person office would then allow DeSantis to appoint 10 police officers to investigate supposed election crimes. So, wait, you're appointing police that's only accountable to DeSantis to investigate election fraud that hasn't been proven in court. Oh boy, is that a good use of taxpayer money? Is it a good use of state money? Don't you think? Considering, of course, the vast amount of imaginary voter fraud in the state. Look, that said, there is voter fraud. Well, of course, it's voter fraud. It happens. It's both real. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not nearly prevalent enough to actually change the results of any elections. But if you're going to look for cases of voter fraud, well, I got a good place in Florida. The retirement community of the Villages. 4 people have been arrested for impersonating other people or just voting twice. You may say, wait, 4 people? Yeah, that's pretty much the extent of it. It's a very, very small amount of people that actually end up facing charges for voter fraud. Now, as far as, the Villages goes, seems to be a heavily Republican retirement community. And so I'm guessing they're just going to overlook that one. And they're going to go for, well, some of the more isolated cases of black people casting a ballot illegally after being told that they could, of course, except we're not actually allowed to, thanks to laws that strip people, felons, of their right to vote. Black voters are not only more punished more harshly and disproportionately for supposed election fraud, often in cases where they just made a simple mistake. For example, Pamela Moses. Pamela Moses was originally sentenced to 6 years and 1 day for casting an illegal ballot. She had served her time. She was told, she was on parole, and told, oh yeah, you can go ahead and register to vote, you're fine. Even though the law actually prohibits somebody on that parole from casting their ballot. So she did. She got arrested. She decided, hey, look, this wasn't my fault. I'm going to fight this in court. And a jury said, no, you're guilty of voter fraud. So now there's another one, Crystal Mason. She was given 5 years in prison for the same kind of mistake. Compare that, of course, to a white man, Bruce Bartman, who would use his dead mother to vote for Donald Trump twice. You know what he got? Probation. 72-year-old white Republican voter in Pennsylvania was sentenced to probation after putting on sunglasses and trying to impersonate his son at the polls. In Arizona, a 64-year-old white woman pleaded guilty to forging her deceased mother's signature on a mail-in ballot. She got probation. In Nevada, a Republican who used his dad's wife ballot and then lied about it, very, very publicly, by the way, pleaded guilty, and guess what? Got probation. Notice a pattern here? Oh, I'm sure, of course, though, DeSantis is going to go and harshly penalize white Republican voters when they do voter fraud, right? Right? No, of course not. There is no equal application of justice under the law. I'm not saying we should lock everybody up forever. I'm not saying that white people should get 5 years in prison like black people. No, what I'm saying is equal and fair application of the law. Right now, there is no such thing. People are not treated equally based on the color of their skin. That's a fact. Now, unfortunately, this law will empower DeSantis to appoint people, police, who will then bully and intimidate who? African Americans. When they decide to go to the polls and exercise their power. And that's unfortunately the point. it's not even a solution in search of the problem here. It's an assault, an insidious assault on voting rights in order to try to depress a side that will not vote for you because you have nothing to offer them, or anyone else, by the way, your own voters, except for nonsense culture war issues.